What do you strongly suspect but have no proof of? That a relative is a CIA agent. She was in the Peace Corps, Vietnam era. Ever since she's been a world traveler, somehow able to drop her work and go hiking the Spanish version of the Appalachian Trail or otherwise go to exotic locales. Sometimes she came back with injuries. I fell as we were climbing some rocks. Her son is in the agency as an employee, not a spy, and he's married to a CIA translator. I believe my grandmother was a serial killer. She was married 7 times, each ending in a sudden death. She died in the 1980s, but everything is still suspicious and no one seems to know anything. I did find an article about her when she came to the US where her first husband died defending her after her ex-boyfriend climbed in her window in New York City. I also found evidence of her having been in prison before coming to the US. The Kardashians usually wear solid colored clothing because it's easier for them to Photoshop. That there is something seriously wrong with me and people aren't telling me about it. I feel I have some sort of serious mental disability, personality disorder, or even some slight retardation and no one will acknowledge it or admit it to me. My phone is not really at 100% when it tells me it is. I work for a call center for the marketplace in the US. There was no interview, barely any training, super high turnover and super low morale. None of their decisions make sense. The entire operation almost feels like it's trying to work as poorly as possible so everyone hates it. That the ginger ale at this diner I go to every day is just Coke and Sprite mixed together. I think my local newspaper and news stations make up fake Facebook profiles to post inflammatory statements in the comment sections of their news releases. There are frequent commenters whose profiles have a basic name, no friends, random intonation friends, basic profile information and only one profile picture who will make some outlandish comment that starts a war. Some zoos have empty exhibits and just claim the animal is in there, you just never see them. That my brother stole and sold all my 3DS games for weed money. They were in a black case and one day they were gone, case and all. I still haven't beaten Pokémon Conquest sad face, edit, I am shocked at the amount of people that have also had this happen to them sad face, it breaks my heart a sibling, parent, uncle would steal from a family member like that, and I hope you all have all the games, cards, records that you could ever want now with no one to steal them less than 3. That a lot of businesses in my hometown are just money laundering operations. 25 nail salons in a town of 70,000? 3,000 square foot DVD rental shop in the best block of downtown where commercial rents are very high? Dozens of $10 barber shops sitting empty all day but remaining open? Red flags all around. That Bath & Body Works has like 13 unique scents. Every couple of months they just rotate the scents in and call them something else. Edit, thank you for the gold stranger. Like 90% of the job listings on Monster.com are fakes designed to collect analytics from users, so Monster can sell your data to advertisers. That the majority of Reddit is bots. It's remarkable how many posts' top comments are just old posts' top comments. Toddler pageants are just dog whistles for pedophile rings to operate in the background. Queen Elizabeth will probably live up to 120 years and longer. She is one of the best fed and most cared person on earth. If we invented something for immortality, she likely took it already. There's one company in a town local to me who board up windows, nobody else in the area seems to do it. Every single window, door, abandoned shop, all done by this one company. They've got a ridiculous-sized HQ, and have put a decent amount of money towards fixing up other buildings in the area. So I've got a theory they're the ones doing the darnage or paying people to do it, and then obviously getting the job of fixing it up as they're really well known in the area. Despite having no proof of this, I am 100% confident I am onto them. That my father was in a super-secret sector of the military during his service in the Vietnam War. Unfortunately, he died 2 years ago, so I'll probably never know what he really did. In my city something bad is about to happen. I see a lot of mansions on sale, and houses with good location too. I think rich people know something that the rest of the people don't. Pretty paranoid, sorry. Edit 1, the economic conjectures are accurate, but in this city we have a petrochemistry and like a month ago, an explosion was listened on all the city. That Apple invented the AirPod meme. That my grandmother had a child before she married my grandfather. When my grandparents met and started dating, my grandma was only 13. My grandpa was 20. They married when she was 17 and he was 24, right after he came back from serving in World War II. That was about as much of the story as anyone in my family ever knew. They'd been dating, then he went overseas, and she wrote to him while he was gone. When he got back, they got married. A few years after my grandma died, my grandfather suddenly mentioned that they'd actually been broken up for a while before she started writing to him. After they'd dated about a year, he went to pick her up at her house one day, only to find she wasn't home. Her parents informed him that she'd left to live with some cousins a few hours away, and she'd be gone for about a year. He got upset that she hadn't told him about this in advance and ended the relationship. When another year-ish had passed and she returned home to her parents, she started writing him overseas and apologized, and they started dating again. My grandpa told this story very blandly and seemed to believe that the situation was what it said on the tin, but of course in the 1940s to 60s it was quite common for teenage girls to go live with relatives for a year as a code for having an out-of-wedlock pregnancy. My grandpa would never have admitted if they'd been having sex, but I'm betting they were. She got pregnant, and she was sent off somewhere to have the baby. I've done commercial DNA testing, so I'm on the lookout for someone to turn up as a sibling match to my mom someday. The only other explanation for my grandma suddenly leaving town would be if her parents didn't approve her relationship with my grandpa, but from everything I know of them they were perfectly fine with their 13-year-old daughter dating a guy in his 20s. That my English teacher didn't read essays, and based grades on how we were in class. Famous actors have secret accounts so they can see if their movie or name is mentioned in askreddit replies. I believe that Apple never actually intended for anyone to buy their $999 monitor stand. It was just an excuse so they could invalidate all warranty claims for the Pro monitor. We can't approve your claim due to the use of improper third-party equipment. That some Canadian guy who owns an antique shop that I bought a camera from in April recognized me. He acted flustered when I came in and I came back the next day to make my purchase. He sold me the camera for what I thought was a reasonable price and threw in an owner's manual in near-perfect condition. A quick Google search reveals that it's an extremely rare camera that was only produced for 2 years. 1,000 still in existence are operational and 1 out of every 1,000 working ones still has a certain part, mine does. This guy's whole shop was based around antique cameras and my dad talked shop with him for a while and he even explained to me how to find film or modify some for my camera. He knew what he was selling me and lost a lot of money on the transaction. I even got it appraised to confirm my suspicions about what it was. That my oldest brother is actually my bio father. It just makes no sense to me otherwise. I have a butt chin and no one else in my family does. This older brother is an alcoholic, drug addict, and just a big mess all around. He brought different women to my parents' house every day and we would hear them fluff. It makes no sense to me that he came out of that with 0 children. Makes less sense since he's approximately 20 years older than me, which means my parents would have had me at a dangerously, for my mom, old age. I know it's not impossible, but it just makes a lot more sense this way. Plus my parents always covered up for his wrongdoings so it honestly wouldn't surprise me. I once asked my mom and she got visibility upset. Didn't even ask her outright, I just said I had a dream that they told me my brother was really my father. She got super mad and refused to even discuss or acknowledge my dream. Weird as hell. I would still consider my mom, my mom. Wouldn't consider my brother my dad if he were because he's an ass. It's just something I think is highly probable. Edit didn't expect this to get any traction. Some clarifications, I didn't mean to imply I'm a product of incest, mom plus brother, I meant I wouldn't know who my bio mom is in the case this is true. My mom knew this when I brought up the dream, she didn't think I meant she slept with my brother for God's sake. The DNA test thing is currently hard for me. Those websites that upload that info so you can get your genetic tree, aren't popular where I live. I'm from a third world country and currently too broke to do any tests. Also I don't care too much. It wouldn't really make any difference, my father, grandpa, is an absolute butt and so is my brother, and I talk to neither of them so it really doesn't matter. It's simply something I figured some time ago that I found funny. Also definitely not adopted. I'm an exact copy of this brother minus the butt chin. And I have no relatives to ask since, due to the fact that my father is an ass, my whole nuclear family is estranged from the rest. So only my parents and other brother would know, but I'm not gonna ask. I believe it would bring them distress, and it's honestly not important enough to cause that to them. TLDR, not adopted and don't quite care about who my bio parents are. Edit 2. Birth certificate is irrelevant. Back when I was born, again, take in mind I'm from a third world country, you could put whatever in a birth certificate and it would fly. So mine says my parents are my bio parents, but due to the context it means nearly nothing. Edit 3. Okay, the medical background being important is a very good point. Sadly I'm currently a very broke college student, so it would have to wait some years, until I graduate and get a job that allows me to have spare money for that sort of thing.